Rick, good morning. How are you, my man?
I'm doing great, Rover. How are you?
I'm doing well. Are you indeed? Obviously, it looks like you are considering a run for the next presidential election. Have you officially decided anything yet, or what would go into the decision that you'd have to
No,
make?
I mean, it's too early to do anything like that. I mean, we've got a very important 2014 election cycle, a lot of important races going on around the country, and that's where the focus should be. And I wrote this book, Blue Collar Conservative, to sort of weigh into the debate for 2014 and beyond. I mean, I think you're right, and we're considering it, and maybe a year from now or so, we'll make a decision one way or the other. And lots of things go on. I mean, it's a. I know people think of the politics always as a political consideration, but Karen and I have 7 children and got 3 in college, and we got a lot of responsibilities here. And having been through it once, I know what that is. The toll that it takes, and we got to be ready to be up for that
Were you
for the
sur-
next time. So,
were you surprised when you ran for president of the United States that how difficult it would be? Because I look at these politicians who are out there day after day, and you, of course, have run for the Senate and won. So that in itself is tough. But I mean, the day in grind, day in and day out, I can't even imagine the demands placed on these candidates, the number of interviews you have to do, the number of things floating in and out of your head. I can't think of too many things that would actually be harder. Were you surprised by how hard it actually is because you've done it
well,
now?
Yeah, I always say everybody should run for president. It's an amazing experience. You learn so much about the country, and you get a chance to meet a great variety of different people as you go from state to state. You get to learn the country in a way that you wouldn't otherwise do. And is it a grind? Sure. I mean, you're doing, at least we were doing 6 to 9 events a day and traveling, and as you mentioned, interview after interview. So you're sort of always on. It can wear you down, but I felt energized by it. I love the opportunity to go out there and talk about the great issues of the day, and try to lead in a more positive, uplifting way. And that's why I wrote the book. I'm trying to talk about things that can unify this country at a time when, gosh, we're just so divided, and it's so sad to see the acrimony in the political arena, maybe at the highest level it's ever been.
Well, you're right about that. And Rick Santorum's book is called Blue Collar Conservatives Recommitting to an America That Works. You talk about things being divided. It really is. I'll be honest with you, Rick. I'm a liberal guy. I probably disagree with everything that you have to say. But, when it comes to things like Fox
But I
News
think you would. Yeah, hold on,
yes.
Rover. I'm not too sure you would. I mean, do you believe that you believe that we should get back to manufacturing in this country and try to create jobs for people who 70% of Americans aren't going to go to college. I mean, they're not going to get a college degree. And you think we should have opportunities and areas for people who work with their hands
I think we should
to get ahead. So that's a big part of it.
Especially in this area where I live. I think we should. Also, I think I do maybe agree with you and what other people have said about college. Yes, it's a noble thing to go to college. Everyone wants their kids to go to college, but it's not for everyone. And we basically have a factory of kids who are going there for liberal arts and all this crap that we don't need. Get some kids in there to learn computer science and things like that, and all this crap we churn out of colleges. It's just a lot of times it's worthless, and then they're $100,000 in the hole when they get out of college, and they can't get a job. Go figure, because you studied Egyptian art. Who's going to give you a job for that?
I got criticized by saying the president wants everybody to go to college, and that's sort of a snobbish thing. And it probably wasn't the most articulate thing I ever said, but the point I was trying to make was, work is it should be celebrated no matter what work you do, and everybody who works hard at whatever they do should be held up and applauded for their effort that they're making. And that's really what the book is all about, which is trying to get better jobs, better quality jobs, an opportunity for people to rise in society, and in the manufacturing area and energy, which is another key to manufacturing and key for blue collar workers, is to is to have affordable energy so manufacturers can can operate here in this country. So I think you'd find there's more if you read that book. There's a lot more that you would agree with than you think.
I will have to read it. I look. I am liberal, but I agree. I think that everyone should have guns to be able to defend themselves. So I'm sort of. I think like maybe most of the population of the United States,
all over
in the middle of the road, right? Some things you agree with, some things you don't. But you talk about how divided it is right now, and it really is. I mean, part of that is that we have whole networks devoted on both sides of the, MSNBC, Fox News, and basically they spend their entire time. If you turn on MSNBC, they're spending inordinate amounts of time talking about Chris Christie and this stupid bridge thing. Then you turn on Fox News, you'll never find any good thing about Obama on Fox News. You talk about it being divided. Do you think that? Tell me. I mean, when you're running for president, I see you say things about Obama and whatnot. What is he good at? I mean, what do you think? What good things can you say about President Obama? Because I hear a lot of negative stuff coming from the right.
Yeah, I guess what I would say is the president's basic philosophy of governing is one that I don't agree with. I mean, I think he believes he needs to transform this country into something that is fundamentally different than what made us the greatest country in the history of the world, and he's going about doing it. And that's great. I mean, I give him credit. He believes in something. He's going about trying to do it. I don't like his tactics. I mean, I don't like the divisive tactics that he uses because it creates a toxic atmosphere in Washington, D.C. when you're constantly attacking your enemies or calling them your enemies or opponents. And I worked under Bill Clinton. I worked. I worked in the Senate when Clinton was a president. I worked with Bush when he was president. And to their credit, they raised the debate. I mean, they criticized Congress. They went after Congress. It was never so personal. It was never, the bad guys and the good guys. And I think he's sort of lowered the tone of politics. And when he had an opportunity coming into office to really raise it. And so I guess I just see him as a real disappointment, someone who had the potential to do something really remarkable as, the first African-American president who's decided to sort of get out of, go to the school, the Saul Alinsky School of Rules for Radicals and be the community organizer in chief instead of the president. I just think that's sad. As a result, Washington's shut down. It's dysfunctional.
Let me ask you, Rick Santorum is on with us. His book is called Blue Collar Conservatives, Recommitting to an America That Works. Let me ask you about a couple of things that are happening. You bring up Obama being the first African-American president. What's the huge news story right now is this owner of the L.A. Clippers who was recorded in his own home making derogatory comments about black people. They have now given him a lifetime ban. Look, what he said was absolutely horrible. I also think what's horrible is that the guy's private comments were put out there, and I'll bet you have said things, I've said things. People say things in the privacy of their own home you don't want to be judged on in public. What's your feeling? Was this punishment from the NBA appropriate for this guy?
Well, yeah, I think the punishment was appropriate. I mean, I don't think you could have someone representing your league or in an ownership position in your league who clearly has, sentiments that offend a lot of people. I mean, you're a business. I mean, you're a business. I mean, you're someone who's out there trying to sell a product to the public, and if the person helping you sell that product is odious to the public you're trying to sell it to, then you're got a hard time selling, a hard time with your business. So they made a business decision, and it was, in my opinion, the right business decision to make. But I think the NBA has a lot of business decisions they haven't made. I mean, I think the NBA has a lot of problems in the values that they promote and in the people in the NBA that are promoting it.
What about the aspect that he was recorded in the privacy of his own home? Now, I'm imagining that I'll bet you have said things to people in the privacy of your own home. Some guy that you don't like, maybe even in your own political party, you may say, hey, this guy is a real blank or whatever. If that recording came out, I mean, you would have. I mean, I don't know. That's the one thing, that one aspect of this I don't like.
It happens all the time for politicians. Politicians do things in the privacy of their end that's out there, and all of a sudden, there are consequences. I mean, look, how naive are you that America today, you don't think that things that you're saying on a cell phone or anywhere else can't be heard by somebody or recorded by somebody? I mean, maybe the guy's an old guy. He doesn't understand technology. But anybody that thinks that they send an email or an Instagram or they make on a cell phone conversation that's not going to be recorded or couldn't be recorded, you're a fool. And so then you suffer the consequences that fools suffer.
Rick Santorum is on with us. I want to know how you would govern. We talked about this story recently. If you became president of the United States, I want to know how you would deal with this situation. I think with the war on terror in particular, there's a lot of controversy over drone strikes and things like that. And there was a drone strike in Yemen recently. It took out some operatives, some terrorists or whatever. But going the other way was a car that just had regular people in it, and when the missile went off or whatever, it unfortunately blew up those people and killed them as well. And I don't know the answer to this. I'm not going to claim to know the answer to this, whether we should be doing that or not. I do wonder, though, if a family in Yemen is driving along the road and they're blown up, I'll bet all their relatives now are going to hate the United States. Even if we did take out a few terrorists when we did make that strike. How do you feel about things like that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you have to look at it in the totality. I mean, you got some very bad guys who are doing a lot of things that people are very happy that they're not there. So I think like anything, I'm sure you're going to make some people happy and some people not. In this case, clearly we didn't intend to kill the people who were driving by, and unfortunately, you have to. There is collateral damage in war. Here's the point. The point is that with drone strikes and the technology that we're using to hit the enemy, there's probably less collateral damage than there's ever been in the history of war. I mean, go back and look at the carpet bombing we did during World War II. I mean, look, the collateral damage, I mean, we were trying to hit munitions factories and we wipe out entire neighborhoods. And so the idea that, that with this type of surgical strike, a family is killed as opposed to an entire neighborhood, leveled to take out the very same target. I think we have to sort of take a step back and say, what we're doing is we're trying to be as cautious as we can. We're trying to be as targeted as we can. If that's not the case, fine, and come after us. But don't hold us to a standard that's unreachable, which is zero. I mean, we try to get to zero collateral damage, but I think everyone would like to see that, and we need to continue to pursue it. But let's not harshly judge when we're doing a better job than we've ever done in the history of warfare. And
I agree with you. I think that's easy for us to say as we sit there. I think you're right about that. You're right about all of that. I just wonder how if your family, if a drone strike came out and took out your wife and a daughter of yours, and because there were some really bad guys next to him on the car in Pennsylvania, I mean, you would obviously be pissed about that, and I think that I hope that we're not breeding hatred of the United States is what I hope, and I certainly understand there could be collateral damage. I just wonder how we'll all turn out years from now.
I think if you live in Yemen and you know that there are terrorists all over, there are terrorists in Yemen and there's a lot of bad activity going on there. Sort of you sort of have to understand that this is an unconventional, but nevertheless a battlefield of the war, and that you're living in a country where a lot of bad things go on, and that are spreading terrorism around the world, and so there's a chance that your number may come up, and it's not something you like, but it's a reality of where you live, and that's not the case in Pennsylvania. So if it happened in Pennsylvania, then clearly there'd be some repercussions, but you're living in Yemen, and so it's a very different situation.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people don't have the choice to, they're in Yemen, they were born there, they don't have a choice to get out of there. I think a lot of them would go someplace else if they had the ability to do that. Rick Santorum is on with us. His book, Blue Collar Conservatives Recommitting to an America That Works. Before I let you go, one of the guys on my show came in right before you came on, and they said that there was, and I don't know anything about it, they said that there was a little bit of a controversy brewing about something in your book that you said Republicans don't care about poor people in your book, or something to that context. I think I'm probably taken out of context.
I said, I said, that, do Republicans care about the poor as much as Democrats? I said, and the answer, I said, in some cases, no. and I looked to the policies that we put forward. And I said, you have to you judge us by what the party does. Now, individually, do they? Of course, I think they do. I don't think and if I can make that point, Republicans and conservatives are actually a lot more generous than liberals are. And so I have a whole, section of the book on that. But from the standpoint of public policy, I make the argument, no, we haven't really shown that we have that type of sensitivity and compassion for those who are being left behind. And that's why, again, the whole point of the book is to lay out a unified message that brings Republicans and Democrats along together on issues to help those in the middle.
Well, the book is called Blue Collar Conservatives, Recommitting to an America That Works. I will... You know what, Rick? I haven't read the book yet, but I will. And the next time that you're making the rounds, let's talk again, and I'll let you know. You said that I might agree with a lot that you say in this book. I'll let you know.
Yeah. All right.
But good luck. Good luck with it, Rick. And I have a feeling we're going to see Rick on the campaign trail, running for president of the United States. In what, if you can believe it, it's April of 2014 right now. We're already talking about the next presidential election, and if I have one complaint about what happens in the media, Rick, it's that these drag on for way too long. And I love politics, but I mean, it's just it's too long. It's too much.
Me, are you running? I said, come on, give me a break.
Right.
I don't want to be in the. I don't need to be in the the sights of everybody at this point. Let's just wait. Lots of things can happen between now and then, and we'll make a decision when the time comes.
Hey, Rick, good luck with the book. I appreciate you coming on, my man.
Thanks, Rover.
Thank you. Rick Santorum.